and welcome to another episode of Fascination Street. Already got my words muddled up, I do apologise. As you can see, it is with Sarah and Jimmy again tonight, seeing as it's a more adult show. Mika's not quite understanding of what we're going to be talking about tonight, so he's upstairs playing with his friends online. So we may see him pop down. Who knows?
Or we may even see him in the chat room as usual. So
that's the usual one.
Yeah. First of all, we'd like to start off by saying, John Ledford, thank you so much for donating to our PayPal this week. It's been really great. Honestly, everything you do. And I will make sure that thing happens and I'll send you a picture. I won't go any further than that, but
yeah, the comment that went with it in the PayPal was great.
Your money buys special things.
That
special
only
favors
you want.
For special friends.
We have some strange friends.
We have some glorious friends.
Yes.
Right, so are we going?
Okay, already in the chat room. Funnily enough, John is always first.
John, wow, that is a surprise.
No.
First in the chat room and the first to donate money for nefarious things.
Yes, we have Pat. And that's all we have. And we have Mummy Pearson has
Hi,
just
Mum.
joined.
Hi, Dad, if you're watching too. How are you? Thank you for joining us.
She's not home yet.
Hi,
so
Mum. Hope you're enjoying work. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Okay, well, it's been quite a strange week this week. Mika is now off on what we called a half-term break.
Yeah, so school's out for the time being for our friends over in the States.
Yep, so he's just had a parent-teacher day yesterday, so he didn't go in yesterday. And he's now off for the entire week this week. So, yes, we're going to have him home for the whole week.
Yep. And I'm mostly at work for the week. So Sarah will be on full alert, DEFCON for parent stuff. So she'll be doing a lot of mumming.
Yeah.
But we've he's had a good week because a little while ago, I don't know if you remember, we were saying that there was one of the shows that he didn't do because he was having tests at school, and it was to go to like high school. How we would sort of like decide which type of high school he'd get to and stuff like that. And we got the results through this week, and he's done very, very well. He hasn't hit grammar, but we expected that anyway, because shortly after he'd done the test, we actually were told that they'd done another test on him and found him to be dyslexic. So for him to get the results that he got without any help was amazing. So, you know, big shout out to Mika. And he's taken everything in his stride, as you guys that know Mika, you know he always does. Yeah, dyslexia to him is just, oh, okay, something else. I can deal with that, no problem. So yeah, he's done so well, and we're genuinely so proud of what he's achieved. So yeah, the little guy's done good for us. And
he's chose his high school, so hopefully he'll be awarded it, and we'll find out in March.
Fingers crossed. So yeah, it's all go. What have you been up to this week?
The usual cooking, cleaning, ironing, volunteering. My usual volunteering job I do. I try to attend twice a week. I actually done 3 days this week to help out. So
and for all those that don't know what you do, tell everyone what you do, Sarah.
I work with it's a kind of charity shop, although it's all the money that is raised goes back into Dover. So it's not one of these big chains that goes to the high corporates first and then gets muddled down, so only the pence go into the company or anything, and everything goes back into Dover. And the person who owns the property, he actually helps many people, whether it be homeless, with giving them clothes for interviews, or if anybody needs any help within the community, he will try his best to help, whether it's with clothes, whether it's with shoes, whether it's with personal effects, anything. So he's an absolutely amazing guy, and for him to set something like this up was just amazing. And it's the one place that I found that I've actually wanted and been able to work to, seeing as a lot of places I'm classed as unreliable, and that's why I can't return to work, because I never know when I'm going to be able to attend, whether I'll be able to stand up or walk in the morning or not. And so that's how my days start, finding out whether I'm able to move and whether I'm able to do things. So he's absolutely amazing and an amazing guy. And talking about my illnesses, hopefully we will be getting a invisible illnesses and disability show going, which I am in contact with a few people trying to get them to come on, and hopefully I will have a date soon as to when that will be. But yes, that is actually going to be happening.
So it will be a Saturday night. It will be a Fascination Street special with just Sarah. And yeah, the response from people that are living with invisible illnesses, or people that have been discriminated because of an illness or a disability that they have, we were surprised to see that things like that still go on in this alleged day and age of sort of like equality and all these things.
Well, I've had discrimination against me through a nasty person that had basically classed me as a liar because I look normal. So he actually threw a lot of violence towards me verbally, and ended up serving some time for it because I recorded it all. Yeah.
And I mean, like myself, I mean, I struggle with back pain quite badly to some extent. I'm in absolute agony, as most of you know that follow me on social media. But yet, my mantra is, get up, dress up, turn up, and that's it. No matter how bad I am,
put the face on in the morning and walk out the door.
Exactly. Say a few decent words to yourself. I will get through this day. This pain will not stop me. Is a perfect mantra to have, which then leads nicely into our guest this evening.
It is. And he's there already. And Ray Davis, thank you for joining us tonight.
Hey, Ray.
Hey, everybody. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you so much for joining us. This is a show that we've wanted to do for quite some time, but due to one reason or another, mainly you moving.
Mainly me, yeah.
How dare you move?
I'm in such demand, it's unbelievable.
Absolutely. Do you want to do the bio then, my lovely?
Right, I'm going to do your bio for the affirmation. Okay, Ray. So this is a little bit that I have got from your sites. So I hope I've got a lot of it right. Okay, Ray founded the Affirmation Spot in 2007 with a goal of helping people overcome negativity and challenges within their lives, like he had done repeatedly in his own. It's not known how many thoughts we have throughout a day and how many are positive to negative. The default setting is what Ray is trying to focus into. The perspective is the driving force to conscious and unconscious thinking. Ray's observation of human behaviour is 10% of the population have a positive default setting. They have a happy attitude regardless of the situation. Another 10% have a negative default setting. They want to be negative and choose to be that way.
Right.
Another 80% fall somewhere between the extremes. Even with the challenges around us and within the world, we want to think positively. Ray realizes all of this through his own life's trials and tribulations and wants to help people to bring positive back into their lives with the affirmations. Have I got that right?
You got that right. Absolutely.
But it's not just that you do as well, is it, Ray? You're also an author and a motivational speaker as well. And I am a very, very high profile on social media. I have only just recently found the Affirmation Spot on Facebook. I didn't realize it was there properly.
I do. It's on the links. It's in the links below.
So I've added that, and I didn't realize how prolific you were. You were just You're kind of like a techno granny in her knitting. It's brilliant.
Well,
you just
well, two things help: auto posting. Then my wife says, "Would you please put that iPad down?"
I bet she does. I see quite a few posts from yourself. I had noticed on Facebook. So yes, you do the affirmations daily on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. You link them all together, and yeah, you do either pictures or motivational pictures, and obviously then you do your little clips as well.
Yeah, the YouTube thing is kind of new. I'm trying to get that going more, and I've been doing a little bit more of that this year.
Yeah, well, we know a few YouTubers if you need any help.
A few like studios to try out. You know, I'll give you a few hints.
Yeah, the current is quite good with technology, so
I'm getting there.
She's becoming a bit of a YouTube web mistress. He said master.
Well, trying to work out how to share things, I'm still learning that, but as to what platform to use, I think I found the golden one here.
I may take you up on that. A lot of the ones I've been doing at this point have been kind of ad hoc. I'll make a quick video in the afternoon, maybe a minute and a half, something like that, that's really off the cuff, but I want to do more sit down, let's talk about a topic and go for it. And that's in our new house. I'm very fortunate. We're putting in a small studio, so I'm going to have a little room there that I can go into, and it'll be specifically for doing this. So I'm really excited about that.
That is going to be fabulous.
I've got to wait until Mika moves out before I can have my own studio.
Well, now we're empty nesters, so we already have that. All the houses to ourselves. So.
Well, so if anyone wants to adopt Mika so I can build a studio, just send in some applications and maybe we can mail him out to you immediately. So how did the whole affirmation thing originally come about, Ray? Because, I mean, I'm not sure. What came first, the affirmation or the authoring of the other book? Because some of you folks are new to our platform, and we had Ray on a while ago because he's also the author of Anunnaki Awake series. So Ray has quite a large volume of work out there. So which came first, Ray?
The affirmations. So when I was 25, I went through an illness. Really should have died. I was in the hospital for about 2 months at that time. And they didn't know what was wrong with me for a long time. You're talking about hidden illnesses in the intro there. I was diagnosed with Addison's disease, which is a autoimmune disease. Really steals your energy, fatigues you, that kind of thing. And I couldn't get up and walk across the room. So I went through that whole experience. I came out of the hospital in debt, broke, without a job, and really just had to pick myself up from nothing and start over again at 25. And I came across affirmations. And so I started making audio cassettes showing how old I am that I would make. I would record them and I would listen to them all night long. And it was on all different areas of my life. I would just listen. And I started noticing after doing that for a while that when my negative thinking would come up, I can't do this, life's just awful, things are going bad, I would start noticing the affirmations I was listening to pop into my head as kind of an answer to that. And I thought, well, that's kind of cool. So I kept on doing it. Eventually I started doing something. It was called Thought of the Day, just through email back in the 90s. I would send it to, a list of a couple hundred friends and family and stuff like that, and try to send them a positive thought to start the day. And when iPods and things like that came in, I thought, hey, it'd be really cool to start recording MP3 affirmations and put them on a website and see if they might help people. And through that, I've really, the business has never taken off hugely, but through that, I've met people all over the world. I get nice messages all the time saying, what you're writing, what you recorded has really helped me. And that's really my main goal with this, is because I realize life is hard. Life is challenging. The human experience is a wonderful thing, but it's also a very challenging thing. And it's easy to get spun into a very negative place, the way I was at that point in my life. And I want people to know that, you can have some self-reliance and pull yourself out. It doesn't mean you don't need a support system. Doesn't mean that there aren't other things that you can do. Maybe sometimes even medications required, but there are different ways you can think that can right now, right where you are, make a difference in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. And words have the power. You know, the
They're
pen
very
is
strong.
Yeah, absolutely. The pen is always mightier than the sword. It's a given. And I mean, it's like when they say, for instance, you know, when you repeat something enough. I mean, it's like when they was it the lie, weren't it? If you repeat a lie enough, then you start to believe it. But with that, with the light or the darkness, there's always got to be the light to counterbalance it as well. So surely, if you tell yourself the truth enough even, then you know you have to start believing in that too, right?
Absolutely. You know, every marketer, if you think about what marketing, I think I read in 2017, there was like $6 trillion spent in the world on advertising and marketing. That's all they do. Why does Coca-Cola still advertise? Everybody on the planet has heard of Coca-Cola. It's not like they don't know there's Coca-Cola, but they're constant. It's that repetition. You know, it's the repetition of a message. You see a politician, we were talking about that earlier, you know, but for better or for worse, they have what they call kind of a stump speech, right? It's their same thing. They go to the next town, to the next town, the next town. If you watch today in videos, you know, because they put them all online, you'll see them saying exactly the same thing they said in the last town. And it's just that repetition of a message. But you're kind of taking this on to do this for yourself. I call it your own personal ad campaign. And so instead of just believing what someone else tells you or believing what the system says is the way things are, you can choose what advertisements you want to do to yourself. And that's really what affirmations are, is they're personal advertisements to yourself to get you either to believe things that are already true about yourself or things that you would really like to be true about yourself. And the repetition, there's two things I think that are really key to affirmations: repetition and belief. You got to believe. You can't just say it, you know, monotone and you don't really believe it and repeat it. But there's something to the two of those things together. And if you think about it, if you go back in history, people said mantras. And it's really the kind of the same thing, you know, peace, compassion, whatever, when they were meditating. And that's really the same thing. You're eliciting a mindset by saying the words over and over again or listening to them. That's also another way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's still a time and a place, even in this modern day, for mantra, affirmation. I mean, affirmation is something I do practice every morning on the way to work. That's my thing. You know, I can have my headphones in, I could be doing whatever, but yet I will still have a list of things going through my mind over and over and over again. I mean, I received a book a little while ago from a guy. His name's Ray Davis, and it's called The Power to Be You.
Yeah. And
it's 417 different affirmations to get you through the year, and a couple of extra bonus ones on top. And I read that. I read my daily one and go through that. Or failing that, I'll go towards the back and find another one that may resonate with me if that one doesn't resonate with me for that morning or that day.
In the description.
See what we did there? Do you see what we did?
Yes.
So when was the book released, Ray?
I think I did that in 2009. That was kind of when the ebook thing became a craze, and I put that out there, and I gave more away free than I ever sold. But a lot of people have written back to me over time and said, you know, I use it every day, or there's a few that I really like that I posted up someplace, and you know, that along with places like Twitter, you know, which is kind of the human stream of consciousness, and a lot of people get it off of there as well. But I think people are just looking for something positive. That's it. That's people are just looking for something positive to add to their day, you know, and you know, our thoughts are kind of automated. We're constantly, you know, affirmations are really also kind of a form of self-talk, and our minds are going all the time, all day long. And if we get up and we hear some bad news on the radio or the TV, or, you know, you're running late, or all those, it's really easy for those negative thoughts to come in, and you have to kind of hit that manual override and give yourself something positive, a reason to get up and go today. Yep. You know, and that's really important. And a lot of people overlook that, and they just go through life. We talked about that 80%, right? They can go either way. I mean, they can be really unhappy, and I've seen people who just do that, and they just seem to, it's not that they don't want better for themselves. I had someone tell me one time that, yeah, I don't have goals and dreams. That's just not me. I'm like, that's everybody. Everybody has goals and dreams and things they want to achieve, and a better life that they would like to envision. And saying it over and over again, it may sound silly and remedial and all that sort of thing, but it really, really does start to change your mindset and change your thoughts about the situation. And you know, you can focus on different things. It can be, right now, maybe you want to focus on, health, or if you want to focus on spirituality or focus on your career, whatever it is, you can make affirmations that can help you not just get through your day. That's not the goal, but really envision something, more positive and kind of get you to a higher level of vibration.
Absolutely. I mean, when you went into a hospital, Sarah lived in hospital for a little while to try and help her with her disability, accept it, come to terms with it, etc. You kind of had like affirmations there as well, didn't you?
Oh, absolutely.
On a daily.
Yeah, meditation was twice a day, and we used the same meditative speech to actually get us through. That we would take hold of our pain, we would accept it, that we wouldn't let it take over our lives, that we would find ways of dealing with it with our senses, with what we can hear, taste at that time, everything, what using your senses to your advantage, your pacing, so many different things that you can use to your advantage when you're in a meditative state, that it can help. And it does take your mind away, even for a split second when you need it the most. But yeah, I'm a very big believer of using the mind to try and overcome as much as possible. I mean, yeah, the pain is always there. It never ever goes. There's never a day where I can say, wow, I am pain free. That's never happened in 11, 12 years. So
I bet people that let that run and ruin their life, and instead of having the positive attitude that you have towards it and trying to do the best you can and make something still of yourself. There are people that say, oh, that's it, that's not fair, life's no good, I'm in pain all the time, and I should, and they just kind of get into that swirl. And you have to, and no one's going to come and knock on your door and say, hey, listen, I hear you're having a hard time with this. There's only one person that can really change the way you're thinking about that. And again, it doesn't solve every problem. It's not going to be the cure-all for everything, but it certainly can change your outlook on life and give you something to get up and give it a shot for every day, right?
It's like, okay, I can't do this today, but I can do this.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm not going to be taking Mika to school, but I'm going to be here for him when he gets home.
Yeah. Again, there you go. You're kind of already making up like your own affirmation there.
Exactly.
I can't do this today, but I'm gonna bang the hell out of that instead. It's all around us. Everywhere you look, there will be an affirmation for something.
Yeah.
You just have to be the kind of person to understand that they are there, they are around you, and sometimes you've just got to look for the sign that's blatantly in front of your face and be like, there it is. That is. Okay, right. So, just to give you guys a heads up in the chat room, you may want to grab a pen and paper, because later on we're going to do a little bit of practical with Ray, and we're going to kind of write. No, we're not going to kind of. We are definitely writing our own affirmation. You don't have to share it with us. You don't have to tell us what it is. It's going to be an affirmation for you, from you, to work on. Yeah. Absolutely. So you don't have to tell us what it is. We don't want to know what it is, but if we can help in any way, or it's a kind of a self-empowerment thing, I think, isn't it?
Now, this is very true from Enjoy Being. I'm just going to bring this up so you can see it. In a dialogue acknowledgement, rather than the monologue of just listening and following whatever the voice says, even better when you kick your own backside when needed.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, couldn't agree more. Ray, how do you feel about that? Bring that up.
Oh, I think that's it's absolutely true. But here's the thing, guys, is that if you don't fill I always say that your mind is a vacuum, right? And someone's going to fill it with something, and it might as well be you. The media, the advertisers, the people around you are all trying to fill. Some people grow up, get negative because they grow up in a negative environment where no one thinks life's just awful and it's horrible and we always struggle and it's never good. And if that's all you hear all your life, and you just internalize that, and most people do as children because they're not even thinking about it, you grow up becoming that until you challenge that and say, wait a minute, whoa, I can draw a line in the sand here and say, I'm going to change the way I'm thinking. That's that's something you can do, but you have to be aware of it. And some people are not even aware that that's kind of the whole environment they've been in, you know. And there's another thing I think that's really important, because a lot of people think, well, this sounds kind of woo woo, you know, and I don't know if I'm, of course, probably not a problem for your audience. I think your audience enjoys that kind of thing, but there's science behind this. I mean, you know, as you mentioned, Sarah, you know, a lot of clinics and things like that are using these sorts of techniques now because they realize that there's a lot of power of the mind. I mean, think about the placebo effect. You know, when a medication's being tested, you know, that's what April does for a living. They don't just have to have some results; they have to overcome what's called the placebo effect, because about 22% of patients, if they believe they're taking something that's going to heal them, will get healed, even though they're only taking a sugar pill.
Yeah.
And so, you know, again, it's not 100%, and there are a lot of other factors that could play into that too as well. But it's clear that if you believe something strongly enough, it can change your outcome. You know, so there's a lot of science to this. You know, there's a lot of, you know, you have a thought, right? We all get a thought. We think a thought. And I want to kind of differentiate between thinking and thought. So we all have negative thoughts. I mean, I can have a thought and say, gosh, I just don't feel good today. I don't want to, you know. It's what you do then. And it's if you don't move into that neighborhood and keep having that thought over and over again and habitually having those sorts of thoughts, that becomes thinking, right? Thinking now is it's crummy. My life is crummy. It never works out for me. Woe is me. You know, that's thinking. A thought. You know, there's some of the teachers out there back in the day who used to say, oh, stay away from negative thoughts. You can't stay away from negative thoughts. It's human nature to have negative thoughts. It's what you do with those thoughts, and can you turn them around? And I thought we could do, just to kind of demonstrate this, if you guys don't mind, maybe do like a little experiment.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay. So I want you to just kind of close your eyes for just a second. Everybody in the audience can join in. And I want you to think about someone, not that we should despise anyone, but there are people who just kind of rub us the wrong way, right? I want you to think about that person for a moment, get them clearly in your mind, and kind of feel the way they kind of make you feel. Okay. Everybody got that feeling?
Yeah.
Okay. Now that's a really negative feeling. Probably you're probably thinking, oh, that person, you know, you can feel the thoughts starting in your head and all that kind of thing. And,
oh yeah.
And feelings, you're feeling it. You got it. No problem. And feelings become emotions, right? Feelings, thought starts with a thought. When we elicit a thought, like a person or a situation or something like that, that turns into a feeling. And then if we kind of go with that, that kind of becomes an emotion. And if you think about sales, or you think about politics, or you think about a lot of the things where we make choices in our lives, we don't always make them from the rational brain. We make them from the emotional brain. So if we've gone down a path where we're thinking negatively and feeling negatively and acting that way out into the world, we're generating more of that, and we're making our choices based on that negative thinking. Now, if you close your eyes and think of someone that you love, someone that just the best thing that ever happened to you in your life, and you feel that feeling, now from a place like that, where you're feeling that very positive vibe, now I have a positive feeling that comes from that, positive emotions that come from that. Now I'm thinking more clearly. I'm seeing that there's potential in the world. There's opportunity, there's possibility. So it's really about taking the thought, turning into a feeling that you can go with, and getting the positive feeling to become actions, words, deeds in the world, rather than starting from a negative place. And again, a lot of times this is unconscious, right? A lot of people are walking around the world and they're still mad about something someone said to them in high school, you know, that they really took to heart, and it really hurt them. And they've never dealt with it, and they're still walking around mad at the world because of that. And that's where they come from when they get up every day. Now, I'm using that as a kind of an example, but I mean, there are people walking around like that have that kind of a mindset. And that's, you know, all of our mindsets collectively become the world we see around us. If it's true that my thoughts help control the world I create for myself, then it's also true that the mindsets that we all have collectively create the world we see around us. And I think we would all agree that the world we see around us right now probably is not the ideal thing that we would like to see. And a lot of that has to do with the way people are thinking and those thoughts and feelings they're acting on because of that. So it's really important, as much as we can, and we're not perfect, but to try to get into that positive vibe every day and get into that type of thing and be acting from a place of love and compassion and understanding, peace, rather than those negative emotions that come from thoughts that can be very unconscious that we're not even realizing that's what's getting us going every day.
Yeah. I mean, and the feeling as well. I mean, with the hate feeling, you could feel that right kind of in the lower abdomen.
Very low.
By your diaphragm. And when you got the good feeling, you could feel it lift from the shoulders. Again, when the metaphysical weight lifting after the low point. So, I mean, from that point of view, that's really, really cool. But no matter what, all the way through life, you're always going to have the habitual victim. You're always going to have those people around, and nothing you're ever going to say is going to change those.
True.
And it's kind of working within yourself. No matter how you do your affirmations, how you make yourself feel, you can be feeling on top of the world after your morning affirmation ritual. You're going to work, and then you'll have that person that you'll walk into, and you're just going to be like, oh. And no matter how much you kind of deflect it, or
and it's like, Luke, come to the dark side.
Exactly. No matter what, you are the one-legged man in an ass kicking contest. That you just, you know, it's like, and it's working around that as well. So, yeah, no matter what you do, you're always going to have those people, right?
Absolutely. You know, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Wayne Dyer. He passed a couple of years ago. He was a very popular motivational speaker here in the States and around the world, and he wrote a lot of books. Kind of a mentor from afar for me when I started doing all of this. You know, he used to say that he used to quote. He had a friend named Buckminster Fuller, who was a guy who came up with the geodesic dome. He invented it, and he told Wayne when they used to talk, he said, you know, 99% of who we are is not this physical form, this thing that everybody sees. This is like 1%. It's the surface. And for people like that, you don't have to give them all of you. If they're going to bring that kind of negative vibe to you, all you have to give them is this. And you don't let it get inside to the other 99% where it can really turn you and affect you. You just kind of put up a shield in a way with those people, and you say, yeah, that's awesome. You know?
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's you. That's fine.
Your words may be toxic, but check out my deflect.
That's right. Shields up, right?
Right, absolutely. So you're going to work in the morning and you're practicing sort of like, I don't know, affirmation martial arts. Yes,
that's right.
I shall deflect these comments. So yeah, brilliant. You just kind of have a whole arsenal ready to go before work of affirmations.
You get your affirmation lightsaber out and you're
Affirmation saber, there we go. What color would yours be? Mine would be pink.
Mine would probably be, I don't know, orange probably, I would guess.
Right, so if we look at affirmations, the dude has been doing research. Hello. Right. Affirmations per se, as the word. So noun, affirmation, plural, noun, affirmations. So number one, the action or process of affirming something. In law, a formal declaration by a person who declines to take an oath. Number two, emotional support or encouragement. So the origin started off Latin, which was affirmare, then later on in Latin, affirmatio, and then in English, affirm. So you have different kinds of affirmations, obviously, as you know. This one's just more for the chat room, if you don't know a great deal about affirmations. So you have your positive affirmations, which are statements that can help you to challenge and overcome negativity. You could have spiritual affirmations, statements that are meant to take you nearer a God, also known as affirmations of faith. And then you can have daily affirmations, which are simple positive statements declaring specific goals in their completed states. So history of affirmations. There was a lot here, and I had to write it down because I didn't want to be that guy on his tablet while he was here. So the father of affirmations is considered by many to be the French psychologist and pharmacist Émile Coué. In the early 20th century, Coué noticed that when he told his patients how effective a potion was as he gave it to them, the results were much better than if he said nothing. Émile Coué de la Châtaigneraie, that was his full name. That is a mouthful, really. was born on the 26th of February in 1857 in Troyes in France, and he died on the 2nd of July 1926 in Nancy, France, at the age of 69. He introduced a popular method of psychotherapy and self-improvement based on optimistic autosuggestion. The application of his mantra-like conscious autosuggestion, every day in every way, I'm getting better and better, which was always my favorite, called Kuism, or the Ku method. Sorry, Kua method. Some American newspapers quoted it differently, day by day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. The Kua method centered on a routine repetition of this particular expression according to a specified ritual. Preferably as many as 20 times a day, and especially at the beginning and the end of each day. So then affirmations were born. Affirmations are positive statements that can help you to challenge and overcome self-sabotaging and negativity. When you repeat them often and believe in them, you can start to make positive changes. Okay, that's it. I thought I had more than that.
Yeah, I didn't know some of that. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, as I say, I mean, when I kind of went in, I had a look, and I think there was 4 books by Kua. There was one that I've managed to find in a PDF form that I've managed to download. I think it was from archive.org. It is the complete methods. So it has all his findings and all other bits and pieces in it, and I can't remember whether that was 1921 that one was released. So I've downloaded that, but there's some really good stuff in there. And yeah, I mean, for being, if you prefer, the godfather of affirmation, it wasn't a great volume of work.
No, this was kind of picked up a number of times in history, not affirmations particularly, but this whole idea that your thoughts can kind of drive the world around you. There were a couple of guys back in the 1800s here in the States. One was named James Allen, who said that the greatest recognition of our generation is that our thoughts can create our lives for us. But really, if you think about it, it goes back further than that. If you go back into the Bible, into Buddhism, every one of those teachers or those books have some form of the idea that what you think about, you become.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a very, very old idea. And I think what's happened in the 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st century is that people have started to pick up this idea and try to make a science out of it. And, I mean, I think there's tons of studies that have been done about this, and over and over again, it doesn't fix every problem in the world or every problem within us, but having a positive mindset is more beneficial. I always say that positive thinking doesn't always work 100% of the time, but negative thinking does.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're negative, you're done. You're done. You're helpless like a leaf going down the drain, right? But if you can say, whoa, wait a minute, grab the side of the bowl and say, I am not helpless.
Yeah. That was me before I went up to London for the 4 weeks. I was so negative, so angry at everyone and everything. And being up there and learning a different way of coping totally changed my mindset.
I mean, for like affirmations and that being around for so long, I was very, very surprised to see so many links to New Age spirituality.
Right.
Because affirmations is not something I would class as New Agey or as woo. I would never put it together like that. I would put it as a positive mindset, not anything too spiritual. I mean, if you had more of a spiritual kind of aspect to it, then okay, I could kind of see the woo or New Age aspect of it. But I would never have thought in a million years that you would relate it to that kind of thing. That was a shocker.
It's interesting here in the States, and I don't know about there in the UK or in Europe or other places that people may be watching this, but it always has been in quote the New Age section, right, at the bookstore or that kind of thing, and I don't really understand that either. Other than another person who was really big in this idea was someone named Madame Blavatsky, who back in the 19th century went to India and learned a lot of stuff out of actually Hinduism. A lot of this stuff came from that, and she kind of came up with this idea of a mental, positive mental imagery and things like that, and that kind of flowed in, and I think it was seen as kind of an opposite view maybe of the traditional spiritual Western views, and I think that's where it kind of got this label possibly as something that's kind of out there, but I would dispute that if people look at their own history in Christianity. I mean, again, I think Jesus a number of times talks about this. There are many saints, if you go back, that talk about having prayers, and really what they're doing is they're saying affirmations. It's what they're saying. You're talking about earlier about getting closer to God and this kind of thing. It was so I think it's a mislabel, but it's important to bring that out because that scares some people away. People go, oh boy, with New Age, I don't do that kind of stuff. I don't do that kind of thing. And it's not that at all. It's just a simple technique that anyone can use, whatever your belief system, to help improve your life every day. I mean,
absolutely. I mean, the full positivity of it, which is why I do it.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me feel good. There are so many benefits. I mean, also the fact that you're a friend and you wrote the book as well. And I mean, we've known each other a good couple of years now, and you're one person that I find to be very positive, very inspirational. I know you do motivational speaking and things like that as well. So when you've got someone like that around you, then I think that's great, because then that can kind of not, I'm trying to think of the way of putting it without sounding like a total jackass. It's like leaders creating more leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And that can do that. I mean, you can have possibly the crappiest day at work, but you can have that one guy who's the joker of the pack that will keep everyone ignited, no matter how bad the situation, how it'll just come in and do one stupid thing or say one stupid thing, and then everyone is just completely revitalized because of the one stupid thing. So bear with me a second. I've got some messages just popped up. There we go. So yeah, with the positive affirmation, you can say 1,000,001 times. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, and laughter is interesting. The words are important because we need to kind of do manual override sometimes. But I always say that laughter is the first affirmation, because laughter can get you feeling it sidesteps all of the logic about it and all the saying the words and all that stuff. It gets you right to a good feeling. And that, like you say, that restores you. So I think comedy, laughing a lot is a huge plus. You really, I'm not saying you don't do the affirmations as well, but I mean, that's the best affirmation because it gets you there immediately.
Absolutely. Comedy is the best medicine, 100%. Mm-hmm. But I mean, going back to like the early days of like, I mean, when you were saying earlier about April and the placebo effect and things like that, that's how it all originally started off, with like Emil Koo saying, that the medicine is gonna be brilliant, and then having long-term effects. I mean, I know I read in one of the sites that I was reading about it that they visited the people that he'd worked with. I think it was about 6 months after, and a lot of them had actually gone downhill because obviously they're not still believing in the affirmation or the positivity that was then coming through. So, maybe that's it. It works, but you can't just kind of do it for a little bit.
No, it's a lifelong practice. I mean, It's something just like meditation or anything like that. It's something you do every day. I forget who it was now. It's one of the biggies in motivational thinking that said, that motivation is the same as taking a bath, right? You do it twice a day or whatever, you have to do it every day, right? You don't take a bath once and, hey, I'm good now. I mean, you have to take a bath every day, and it's the same thing with motivation, because you do have all those negative forces pushing on you all the time. I mean, again, if you turn on the news, they'll give you a half an hour of all the negative things that go on, all the reasons you shouldn't trust anyone. Everyone's at odds with each other. There's war, violence, chaos. And one little puppy dog story at the end to try to make you feel better about the fact that you spent 30 minutes watching it. And it's like, that's the thing. That stuff will lean on you, and that stuff will win if you're not doing something to, like I say, do your own ad campaign to make sure that what you're focused on every day is something that's good. And hey, we all slip and fall. I'm not perfect for sure. I mean, there's times my wife goes, I thought you were the affirmation guy. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I am, you know, and
Yourself up.
back on the path.
I mean,
yeah, but they, you know, yeah.
I mean, I found another couple of articles, like self-affirmations are often regarded as a new age concept, but science is here to offer a pretty valid reason to give them a try. A new study published in the journal Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin found that people in lower positions of power may perform better by using self-affirmations to calm their nerves. Study participants who first called to mind their greatest job strengths or other positive assets went on to operate with more confidence when placed in high stakes situations. Anytime you have low expectations for your performance, you tend to sink down and meet those low expectations, said lead researcher Sonia Kang, an assistant professor of organizational behavior and human resource management at the University of Toronto. Self-affirmation is the way to neutralize that threat.
Well, yeah, think about the impacts of that on your kids, right? You know, because you have people, a lot of times this negativity, this brokenness, I guess you would say, is passed from generation to generation because someone grew up in an alcoholic home and they never had the love they needed and they're really negative in the world. And then they have a child and they say, you're never going to amount to anything. Yep. You know, that kind of stuff is the stuff that people are walking around with in their heads 40 years later, and they're screaming at people in traffic because that is still inside of them somewhere because their parent, an authority figure, someone they loved and trusted, told them you'll never amount to anything. Yeah. So you're right. I mean, it's so important. I think, like I said, I think we talked about this earlier, to start this early and make sure that, you know, kids do have a good sense of their self and their positive aspects. You know, there's something related that's called positive psychology. Mm-hmm. That was started by a guy named Martin Seligman, I don't know, about 20 years ago now, I think. And the idea is that most modern psychology looks for your problems and how to fix them. And his idea was, what if we turn that around and said, okay, what are your strengths? Let's try to emphasize your strengths rather than trying to fix your problems. Maybe that would give you a better quality of life if you would focus on your strengths and pull on those. And that's been a whole new field of psychology that's kind of blown up in the last 20 years, that they found a lot of positive effects from people seeing what's good about themselves and what they can draw on in their strengths, rather than coming and saying, well, you know, my mother never loved me, and spending 10 years in therapy talking about the fact your mother never loved you. Well, okay, what if we focus on, you know, the fact that you have an MBA and you have a wonderful family, and we see what can you make of your life out of that, and let's just forget about the fact that your mother never loved you. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, while we're talking here, I mean, I'm going through Google because there was another article that I found out, and I can't find it again now, but it was to do with parenting affirmations. Mm-hmm. I mean, one I found here is like 15 positive parenting affirmations for mums. And it's, do you have any positive parenting affirmations? Do you wonder why you would need them? Well, are you familiar with, oh, sorry, I better cite it's called the deliberate mum. I better cite that. So fair use, fair use, fair use. So, well, are you familiar with those days when the floors are sticky, the kids are fighting, and your to-do list seems never ending? It never fails that on days like these, I'm a breath away from yelling or using my cool. It's hard to use positive parenting strategies when you're feeling exhausted and overwhelmed. It's easy for our minds to get stuck in the rut of negative self-talk. That's why positive affirmations are so important. A wonderful way to stay focused on your goal of being a positive parent is to have a handful of affirmations to encourage and bolster your confidence when you're feeling worn down. So here are 15 positive parenting affirmations. I'll only go through the top 5. I'm the best mum for my children. You are. No one else can be a better mum to your little ones than you. Number 2, I'm the calm in the chaos. Mm-hmm. When the house is a disaster and the phone is ringing off the hook and your children are fighting with one another and the dog has peed on the floor again, there is one thing you can control: you. Be the calm in the chaos and the rainbow in the storm. Number 3, this too will pass. I don't know where this phrase originated, but it's one of my favorite affirmations. Many times I've encountered a challenge or a frustration only to discover that while in the moment it felt huge, but when it passes, it all seems small in retrospect. Number 4, love, love, and love some more. Love is the key to keeping calm with my children. It's hard to get angry or frustrated with the child snuggled up on my lap or while locked in embrace. What do you want?
Child.
I'm not here. I'm not really here. It's
And then-
alright. You heard nothing.
And then number 5, I love being a mum or dad or parent.
Or a child.
Yes, there are
Or a
challenging
child.
times, but when you tell yourself over and over how much you love motherhood, parenthood, fatherhood, you how can you not love it? So
Absolutely.
yeah,
It's all what you focus on, right? In the moment you're mad, you're frustrated, whatever. And if you focus on that, you're going to go that way. But if you just stop and remember, again, I like to say that, you know, one of the affirmations I like to use for parents is I am a great parent and my kids are living proof.
Mm.
You know, because it's true. I mean, we, you know, in those moments we feel like a horrible parent, right? Because we want to sit them all down, give them time out and all that kind of thing. But and sometimes you have to do that. I'm not saying you don't, but I mean, if we just can gather ourselves again and respond instead of react, right? I mean, and that's true in all aspects of life, right? I mean, I think even online we do that sometimes. If we just react to something, that gets us in trouble sometimes. If we think about it and respond thoughtfully about it, then, you know, I mean, we get a better outcome probably. So I love those affirmations. Those are awesome.
well, that's what I mean. So, again, you know, as we were saying earlier, when you go through all different kinds of affirmation, I mean, like looking through Google now, you go for all different kinds, and there are affirmations for everything.
Everything.
You know, it's not a new idea. It's been going on, as we know, you know, from what we understand, you know, the early 20th century, but obviously it was going on a lot longer than that. When you kind of look at the other side of the other side, the spiritual affirmations, mantras, and things like. I mean, so they must be dating back thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
Like you say, a prayer is an affirmation of sorts.
Absolutely. You're, you know, you could look at all of this as kind of drawing, if we think about it energetically, all of this is drawing the energy of God or the universe or whatever closer to us to help us with our situation, provide guidance and support and those sorts of things. And that's what a prayer is, right? It's really a reminder as much to us as asking for something, that power that birthed us is there for us all the time, you know?
Yeah, I mean, someone's put in the chat, respond rather than react.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, talking, again, even just talking to your kids, your wife, you know, your husband, you know, it shouldn't ever get to a point where there should be a reaction. You should always be able to speak, talk it through, and then work on it together. Mm-hmm. I mean, we talk about it. I mean, before every show, we always have a few words. If there's the three of us here, we have like a little circle, you know, we call to keep the energy high, everything positive, and to put a good because that's what the communication is. You know, anyone could be like, right, okay, Ray, thanks for joining us. We're going live in 5 minutes. just gonna go to the loo. See you in a mo. Right, Ray, we're live. See you in a minute. Well, welcome to Fascination Street. Well, you know, you have to know, you have
right.
to have these things ready to roll. It's just it's not one of those things. Yeah, I mean, if anyone done that, I would be like, do you know what? I've just remembered that I've got like something really important that I've got to do somewhere. I've got to go now. So thanks for having me, but I've really got to go. You know, you just.
You know, you bring up a really good point too about the power of multiplying these vibrations, these thoughts, these affirmations, and that is if you think about, you know, people talk about the power of prayer, or you hear about like these peace days, right, where people get together and do a meditation for peace, and they've done studies on this kind of thing, that crime rates go down in the areas where something like that's going on during a day like that. You know, there's a certain power of bringing people together and more people focusing on something, focusing on a positive, raising a vibration there. And I think we're really just starting to understand all of this. I mean, I think it's something we don't.
Effect.
Sorry.
Was that called the Maharaji effect? Because there was something done a little while ago that showed that a lot of those statistics were actually false.
That's one of them. Yeah, but there's just a lot of studies about that kind of thing. That there's the Buddhists, ancient Buddhists, and modern Buddhists. The Dalai Lama will do these. They call them mandala ceremonies. They'll build this beautiful sand thing. They'll spend days and days focused on it. And the monks, the whole time they're doing it, are focused on bringing peace to the area and that kind of thing. And then they'll basically go like kind of dump it into the sea or dump it on the land or something. And they found that this has an effect on the area where that is happening. It's like changing the vibration. There's lower crime. People are happier. Yeah. And, like I say, I think we're only beginning to touch the surface of this. And in a way, our modern scientific world has brought us a lot of good things, but in a way, I think it sometimes kind of stands in the way, because it's like, well, I only believe what I can prove, what you can show me. It's like, well, maybe I can't show you this in a way that would be data that you would understand. But there really seems to be something to this idea of not only our own thinking for ourselves, but our collective thinking. And really, I think if you just logically follow the thing we talked about before, this idea of the collective thinking creating the world, I mean, it really does. It's all of our thoughts and the energy we've got and put out of the way, and we all get in traffic together, and we all behaving the way we're behaving, and all of that stuff all day long is creating this world we see around us. And I really believe, and I'll go to my end believing this, that if enough of us change the way we thought about the world right now, we could have a different world right now. Yeah, it's not a matter of decades. We get decades to figure all this out. No. It's really a critical mass of a mindset change. And that's what I hold on to. Yeah. And if we can get there, who knows what we could do.
I agree. I've always said this, and I honestly, something else that I stick by is the fact that we don't normally do politics on here, but this does involve it, that it's in the best interest for all the governments and all the politicians to keep us separated, because they know that if we unite, we get together, then we can achieve something truly, truly beautiful and unimaginable. We can create something so good, which is why they have to keep us separated by divide and conquer tactics and things like that.
Absolutely. And, I'm glad you're doing a lot of good segues for me here. I'm glad you brought that up. I feel like you're like reading off what this isn't just about, okay, I'm sitting in my room alone and I'm saying affirmations to myself to get myself pumped up for the day. That is part of this, but this feeds into politics. It feeds into, business. It feeds into the way we interact in every aspect of our lives here. And you're right. There's a power structure on this planet that is in charge. They have most of the wealth. They have most of the power, and they really aren't interested in all of us kind of realizing the power that we have within us. And they have maintained control by keeping us separated and I think that's again why this stuff is thought of as woo-woo. It's woo-woo. Don't go there. Because if you say it's a conspiracy theory or it's woo-woo, people will stay away. A lot of the people will stay away from it and say, I can't get into anything like that, and they'll just keep going about their lives powerless when the power that's within us could change everything tomorrow.
And it is.
And they know that. They know that, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I say, I've always said that, their biggest fear is us uniting and being able to achieve something totally unimaginable and beautiful. That is their biggest fear. Everyone uniting, realizing and lifting the veil to see basically, the man behind the curtain, if you prefer. So from that aspect, it's imperative they keep us like this. They keep us sheep, or they keep us dumbed down. Yeah.
And they're good at it. They really are, and I think the key for us, I see that world of getting to that point as kind of the holy grail of all of this. It's great if I use this kind of power to better my life and excel in my career and do all this stuff. But really the holy grail of this is all of us changing the way we think in a way that changes the world. And there is a world. It's just like a thin veil. I can almost touch it sometimes. There's this world sitting there waiting to be, and we just have to choose it. Yeah. But they're constantly trying to keep us distracted over here. Don't see that. Yeah. And what they don't know is
just see this.
They get to go along too. It's just they're not going to be in control. It's not going to be a top-down hierarchy anymore. It's going to be a more egalitarian, spiritual existence, I think, for everybody on this planet. And
it's like we were saying before the show, weren't it? Brexit, pull it down a little bit further. Immigration, pull that down a little bit further. It's all relevant. even though, you know, they seem like, I don't know, what would you call them, external factors or whatever. It's still relevant. And again, it's still something that plays in to everyone else's thinking, negative vibes, and interrupting other people's positivity along the way. Because again, no matter how many times, like I said to you earlier, you know, I'm so sick of the Brexit conversation. But no matter how many times I'm positive, I go to work, everything is great, you will always have that one person that will ask, what do you think about Brexit? You know, so you've got to kind of be very diplomatic, but at the same time walk off and it's you know, so you can prepare yourself for many things, but there's always going to be something out of the blue or something which again is totally irrational. It's not important to me, you know. The only thing that's important to me is getting home to the things that matter the most. Work and everything else like that is a segue for me to be able to enjoy the life that I love with the people I love being with, you know. And again,
and that's most of the people on this planet. Most people on this planet do not get up every day and say, you know what, we should go attack that group over the hill over there because they're different than us. Most people just want to get up and live their lives, be with their family, have a prosperous, happy life. They're not interested in all this. Well, we're going to control that piece of land. We're going to control that piece of land. This is all fake drama. You know, I hate to draw on this phrase because it's fake news, folks. I mean, it really is though. That's not the world we're supposed to be living in, but that's the one they have us living in. You know, it's kind of a planet where it's like all this illusion is kind of created instead of us, like you say, coming together. And the reason it's important for us to do the individual work on ourselves is because young people say, well, that world would be awesome. I would love that. They've got to change first. No, it starts here. We have to change first. We have to do the work on ourselves because if we don't, who else will do that? You know, we've got to start with us. So I say a pandemic of peace begins with me, right? Yeah. So
absolutely. And I also think as well that the way that we kind of teach our children at school, or the children are taught at school, I mean, I don't know how they do things in the States, but like in the US, how they do things in the US, but over here, I mean, there's no kind of real, okay, kids, today we're going to go out, we're going to learn how to grow, you know, do like a vegetable patch, or we're going to learn how to do that, or we're going to learn how to do accounting for when you leave school, or budgeting and stuff. There's no kind of stuff like that, you know. Again, it's
let's give you algebra that you'll never use in your lifetime.
And Latin. And Latin, absolutely, which you can use Google Translate for.
Yeah.
You know, why don't we work on? I mean, it's coin a phrase. It's like, let's build strong children rather than fix broken adults. And that's exactly what it is. You know, if you teach the children and you fulfill them from an early age, show them that life doesn't have to be doom and gloom. Show them that there is positivity and beauty to be found in everything. I mean, we've done that with Mika. We've taught Mika how to meditate. We've taught him how to put others before himself. All these different things like that. I mean, you know, it's possible, it's doable, it's out there. And why aren't they picking up on it? You know, does it always have to be like the parents that, because like in the UK, you teach your children, I don't know, say for instance, ways of Buddhism and things like that. You know, the child's in class and the child's having a moment to himself to collect his thoughts, and the next thing you're being called in because your child's a daydreamer.
Right.
You know,
he's not productive. We have things to get done.
Yeah, exactly. Get that work done. Do those lines. Get this done. Get that done. You know, rather than thinking, you know, maybe this child is slightly creative. Maybe this child is so and so. We need to get this done. Show these children how important it is to have deadlines, how to get here, how to get there, what to do. You know, that what is that going to teach the child? It's not going to teach the child nothing. The child should know its main goal at that time is self-worth, not necessarily self-importance, but everything with that, looking after preserving oneself. And through which way it finds the most comfortable to do it, then do it, because that's it, right? That is the way to do it.
Well, the learning system as we have it now, I think in most of the Western countries at least, and probably a lot of the world, is one that's designed to create good employees and obedient citizens. That's not really designed to create great human beings, you know?
Yeah.
And I think what you're talking about is a situation where we completely take the values of what's important. I mean, if you know, you can learn algebra if you ever need to learn that. I'm not saying you don't teach it at all, but I'm just saying you can learn those things later on in life. But if you teach someone the power and the goodness within them, to begin with, then they believe they can go out and achieve whatever they want to achieve. But if they have to spend years overcoming all that negativity that they got later on in life, that sidetracks them. And even when you try to start working on yourself, we talk about working on ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Even when you start trying to do that, you still have to deal with all that stuff in the background. That if we would just start from the right place, and again, it plays into what you were talking about a minute ago about the system, the way it is. That's what they want to produce. They don't want to produce self-empowered human beings that think for themselves and challenge the system the way it is. I mean, it's a sad truth, that we have to deal with.
We all have to learn the same, and that's it.
And you teach your child self-empowerment, and the child disagrees with anything. I mean, we've kind of had it with Mika, where they've specified a fact about space or spirituality, and he's like, no. And I was like, oh. What goes on at home stays at home,
Yeah. But what they teach you at school, just let them teach you.
But that's it, because the next thing you do, you either get a phone call to attend the school,
right,
or you end up with social services on your door. What are you teaching your children?
Yeah,
exactly. Well, that's the control mechanism, right? It's like you're outside the consensus. You're not within the lines.
Mika has got a mind of his own.
Yeah,
we've never been.
Yeah, exactly. And he will. Any teacher, and we've had this at parents' nights and things like this, and
your son is very open-minded, isn't he? He does have a very old head on his shoulders, and he knows how to use it.
Yeah, absolutely. That comes across even across the internet. I can tell that about him.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about Christmas. Well, hang on a second. When we celebrating Christmas thousands of years before Christianity, don't say that at a church school. Don't say that at a church school. So yeah, you as we've always said, you always let them look out the window, but you never tell them what to see. So it's pretty cool like that. So that's it. Right, shall we do something practical? Let's do something fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shall we have a go at writing or making our own affirmations to ourselves, for ourselves,
by ourselves? So we'll give it a minute so everyone in the chat room can grab a pen and paper. Everyone, let us know when you're back and you're ready to rock and roll. Oh, where's my pen? Where's my pen gone?
I've got one.
I'll tell you what, I'll have that one till you can find me one. Right. Okay.
Oh, I know what I was going to do.
Right,
I was going to bring it up on here, wasn't I?
Oh, yeah. Oh, hello. Where we gone?
It's all right. It's still there.
I'm still here.
See, he's still there.
Oh, I've already done the link to the.
Yeah, I know, but I want to bring it up.
Whatever.
Let me do my bit.
God, the things I've got to do. Can they still hear me?
Yes, they can still hear you.
Oh.
It's so funny.
Doug, get off my foot. Douglas, get.
Oh, it's not there. Where did I find it?
Go to the website. What down there? Website. No,
Where?
up. The one that says website.
Oh yeah.
That's the website. There we go.
That's the one.
You're welcome.
So I know I had you here for some reason.
Yeah, mowing the lawn.
Yeah, it's not one of them.
No.
Okay.
Right, where's my vape?
Right. Where am I?
Sat next to
There
me.
it is.
Oh, is that how you do that?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Okay. We now have up the Affirmation Spot on the website. Now then, it has along here why affirmations. Now, over here, there are 7 tips for creating effective affirmations.
Can I still be seen?
Yes, you can still be seen.
Ah.
Although There we go. I'll bring it back up in a second. Now, are we going to go with the 7 that you've got on your website, or are we going to create our own?
We're going to go rogue here. So I mean, those 7 tips definitely would help you get started, and I'll probably cover a lot of the same things. But yeah, I thought we would just go rogue here. So
that is the website where you can find everything. It is in the description box,
and I will relink it in a moment. Lorianne, we are just getting ready to write our own or create our own affirmations,
and they are to you, for you, from you.
Yeah,
your advertising campaign to you.
There we go. No, let's not go there.
We're not doing politics
again. No. Right, so let's just get this done. So, okay, chat room, let us know if you are ready. And I will put Ray's site out one more time. I've already put a link out to your book as well, Ray.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
That's okay. Honestly, I cannot believe, what was it? $3.99 or $2.99 for the book. I mean, that is an amazing price for what it is.
A lot of times, if you're an Amazon Prime, you can get it for free a lot of times too. So
yeah. So 417 affirmations that Ray has done for you that you can go through, and obviously there's 417. Yes, there's 365 days in a year. So if there are a couple that don't resonate with your day, you can shuffle them about.
Or if it's a leap year, you can really have a bit of fun.
Yes.
Right.
And there are 417 because I wasn't paying attention in math class, but yeah, no.
You was the child that was dreaming.
That's right. I was dreaming of
the unruly child. Or as we like to call them, the dreamers.
Mrs.
The ones
Davis,
that make it,
would you come in and speak about your son, please, who has no interest in
Right. Okay. Right.
That's
so
out,
I think right. I've just put the affirmation spot out. Right, Lorianne, what do I do? Okay, so Lorianne, get yourself a pen and paper and listen to the words from our good friend Ray.
Or if you're on a computer, use your notepad.
Yep. But don't use Tipex on your screen if you make a mistake.
No, don't work.
Okay.
Well, the first thing I should say probably is it's okay to edit, because I mean, you want to get to something that really resonates with you. So that's the goal of writing an affirmation. Mm-hmm. So the first thing you need to do, obviously, is you need to pick a topic. What do you want to focus on? You're trying to focus on a particular issue in your life. Are you trying to focus on your health? Are you trying to focus on your career? Attracting more money? What is it that you're trying to focus on? So you need to pick a topic is the first step that you always need to do.
Yeah.
Douglas, get off my foot. Douglas. Doug, come along now. It's time. You know the drill. Come on. This way. This way.
Go lay down.
This way. Come on. Don't give me the big doughy eyes. Come on. Right, come on. Quick. Up. Come on. If you're coming, quick. Quick. Up. Come on. This way. There we go. Right, we've got the dog. The dog is now landed. Right. Honestly, I've got him sat right up next to me here. He's got the whole sofa over there, but he decides he's going to get in the smallest little space next to him.
Absolutely. Our dog always has to go to the edge of the lawn to do her thing. So she can never do it like in the middle. It has to go right to the edge of our property. And that's...
It's quite funny because Dougie's quite small. So when the grass grows a little bit, he doesn't like the feeling of the grass on his belly. So kind of, it's honestly proper comedy. Right. Okay. So we've got the subject written down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now what I want you to do is just write a sentence that that speaks to you about what you're trying to achieve, and then we'll kind of tweak it from there. So write, you don't want it to be too wordy. You want it to be something, kind of, a short, impactful phrase. I'm sorry.
A positive or a negative?
Positive.
It's got to be
Positive.
positive. So we're not
Mhm.
taking negative and bringing it to a positive.
No.
Right.
Okay.
No. So you want to be using sort of like strong positive words like I will, it will, words like,
Yeah.
you know, other positive words, Ray, that we can go with that. It is mostly you. So I will, I want. It's along those lines, right?
So a couple things. One, you want to put it in the present tense. So you probably want to use am instead of will. So the idea would be that you're kind of affirming what the state that you want to achieve, not necessarily where you are right now. And we'll talk about, when we get done with this a little bit, we'll talk about how to, obviously if you're 8 years old and you want to be the best jazz pianist in the world, I mean, you're probably not going to get there at 8 years old, more than likely, but we're talking about what I call aspirational affirmations. But for now, just do something that's like present tense. You want to use a power verb. Am is the standard, the gold standard, right? Because am is kind of an equal sign, right? I am. We say it all day long. First thing we wake up and we say, I am tired. I am happy. I am. We say that about 85,000 times a day, probably to ourselves. I am. And so we want to say, I am something, whatever this is that you're trying to envision that you want to be. There's other things you can do, though. There's other power verbs you can use. I like choose. I choose to do this. And you did mention, Sarah, negative. I don't really see this as a negative. And some people will say to stay away from this. I like the word refuse. If you're trying to add emotion to your statement, I refuse to allow blank to stop me from achieving blah. I like that kind of thing, because I think the more emotion you can get into the statement, we talked about, remember the thought is the spark, and we talked about we got to get to feeling and emotion, right? And we want words that are going to get us to emotion, to feeling, that's going to make us act. Because just the thought itself doesn't really make us act. If we just stick in the thought, that's not enough to really get us going. We need to get that fire going really good. So we need to kindle it with words that are going to really be impactful for us.
Oh, Dwayne. It's one of the Dwayne, I don't know if you've ever seen any of the posts that I've shared on Facebook recently. It's creative thought word, spoken word by someone called Enjoy Being. Well, that's Dwayne that's in the room with us at the moment, and his creative spoken word stuff is truly fantastic. It really is, Ray.
Awesome. I don't think I've seen one of those posts. I'll have to go back and look at those.
Yeah. And I'm just putting in your affirmation YouTube channel as well, Ray.
Okay. So if you've got your phrase down, what I want you to do now is and you don't have to do if you're at home, you don't have to do this, obviously. Obviously, we can't hear, but if you guys want to, you guys can do this if you want to. Say it out loud, or at least say it to yourself. And I want you to see if it gets you to a feeling. Does it really get you to a feeling like, I really want to do this? I'm really willing to do all it takes to get there. Or does it go, meh? Not really sure. Because we want to make sure that this is evoking a feeling.
I've got the shoulder thing again. When we've done the exercise earlier, we're closing the eyes and imagining the loving thing, the weight off the shoulder. I've got the same. I'll read mine out.
I just had to tweet
okay.
to get that.
Right. I am wanting my family to have great health today and always.
Okay. And how does that make you feel?
Yeah. On the shoulders.
You there? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think probably because it's something that's very, very close to me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I refuse to get in the way of anything.
There we go.
There's emotion there, right? You feel, I refuse. I will not stand for this anymore. All right. That's kind of what you're trying to get to, is anything that gets that to that emotion. That's important. The other thing you can kind of do, and I did this because I talked about recording. I really like recording affirmations. There's a number of ways you can use your affirmation during the day. You can post it up places. You can say it to yourself. I like listening because I can kind of multitask. And I talk about listening both actively and also passively. So you can make recordings of your affirmations. Maybe the one affirmation isn't enough. Maybe you want to kind of get more holistic about this topic. Maybe you want to write 10 affirmations about how to get your career to a better place, right? And you want to talk about specific things. You want to listen to those over and over again. What I would encourage people to do if you do that is record them. Doesn't have to be perfect tape. I'll tell you a funny story. When I used to make my affirmation tapes on cassettes, I had I wasn't doing as well at that time as I do today, and I had this smoke detector in my apartment that the battery was going bad. I had this one tape that through the whole tape it would go beep beep. So it was kind of funny. I woke up and I was like, beep. No, I didn't do that. But I like listening actively, because you definitely want to really, kind of, I almost call it like watering the garden, right? You want to make sure that you are hearing these things consciously. But then think about, like, if you learn the words to a song or a commercial or something, you didn't realize you were paying attention, and then one day you start singing along with it, and it's like, oh, hey, I know the lyrics. I didn't really realize that.
Yeah,
if you do that,
my son with the Still It Bang advert, wasn't it, at the age of 3 years old.
Yeah, I mean, there's another chap out there that we followed for a while, and he's called CW Chanter. I don't know, and he does the Commonwealth chanting, which is reading the religious script in the morning, and then basically having his own mantra, singing along with it, and things like. And I do the same with my affirmations. I try to find something that kind of goes with it, a song I may have heard that morning, and then try and blend that in and go over and over and over. I mean, the Commonwealth chanting thing is amazing, and I did notice that CW has recently put the whole list on his done a whole playlist on his site, so you can actually go from the conception of the Commonwealth chanting up to modern day where we're at now. And he also gives away, if you email him, he'll actually give you a very informative write down of how to practice it, how to do it properly, and certain guidelines and other bits and pieces put out. So, but again, that's what I do. I've learned from Chanter how to do the chanting, but then from you, how to blend the affirmation in with the chant. I mean, I can't really sing that well, so a lot of mine is within my own head. I don't, want to kill any small animals on the way to work or anything like that.
But again, the music and the chanting, again, very old concept, right? And people have been doing this for thousands of years. And again, music brings emotion into it. Yeah. It adds more emotion to the words, right? That's why it's really good to sing. I haven't really done much of that, honestly, in my life, but I could definitely see where that could add to the value of just saying them,
It's a very upbeat tempo song to actually give you the upbeat to go with the affirmation. I could see you jiggling along with the affirmation as you're doing it.
The Ray Davis jiggle.
So you can get that part out.
You know what? All I can think of is poor April opening the door, walking in, and then
No, we've been together 20 years. She's pretty used to me, so.
That's exactly the same as the conversation with Sarah. 17 years, and she still hasn't left me yet. So I'm assuming I must be right somewhere.
Got nowhere to go.
When we open up the chat room, right? Were you? I'm going to put in there that you talk about affirmations, motivational speaking. Would you take questions on Anunnaki Awake if anyone's interested?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay.
So yeah, any of the above questions.
So where do we go from here? Are we done with this now, or do we want to go for another one?
Is that what we're going to use? So obviously with the affirmations that we're doing for ourselves. So we've gotten to write our sentence, I refuse to allow pain to get in the way of anything. Is that the kind of thing that we are going to use? Well, obviously that's the kind of thing that I would use every day.
Yeah.
Yes. So a couple of the things that I have found really effective, and you can do this if you record them or if you say them to yourself, is do them in the second person as well and in the third person. So if you think about, one of the things that affirmation does is what I call thought replacement. So a lot of the negative thoughts that were planted in your head back in the third grade, when that kid on the playground was mean to you, they said, you're no good at this, right? If you do a 1-for-1 switch out of that, do your affirmations in the first person, obviously, you hear that everywhere. I am, but you are. And I found, especially if you listen, I find this really effective. You are, because you're hearing it the way you heard the negative thought that you're trying to replace to begin with. And then the last one, if you want to do that, is add your name to it and say, Ray is. So you do I am You are, Ray is. It's kind of a holistic kind of thing. They kind of get you from all angles psychologically. And, you just as use an example, right? I am creative. You are creative. Ray is creative, that kind of a thing. I find that is more powerful than just the I by itself.
Okay.
Like Dwayne's put in there, enjoy being. So true. The vibration of words we do not realize can program us. Hence why and what singing does. Surely, going back to what you were saying earlier, Dwayne, about the if you've got certain vibration, surely you'd be able to write your own affirmation based on the vibration of certain words that resonate more with you.
Yes.
Would that be correct? So you would be able to make it more of a kind of, more vibrate. Obviously everything is vibration, frequency, and energy anyway. So surely you must be able to get more kind of energy from the frequency of the vibrational words that you use. Maybe.
Absolutely. Well, absolutely. And that's I think a really effective thing about using the third person, your name. They talk about what's the sweetest word in the English language, right? It's your name. It's the one we were taught from the time we were a little child to respond to. And when you say Ray, you are creative.
Yeah.
That gets your attention, and that creates a vibration, a higher vibration. But you're absolutely right. It's got to be words. The same way affirmation won't work for everybody. It's got to be words that mean something to you, that get you to that feeling, that emotion, that higher vibration state. And now I'm ready to go out and take action on it. And then it's just the repetition of continuing to water your mind with those thoughts, so that when that situation comes up, or you go to try it, or as you're just working through the journey of getting there, you're trying to maintain that positive feeling as much as you can. There's been some research that talks about the fact that if you can maintain a positive energy towards something for like about 30 to 60 seconds consistently, there seems to be, again, in our universe, the funky way that it works. I think people talk about the law of attraction, right? It's not really an ATM, right? You don't walk up and say, hey, give me $100, and that's what happens. That happens sometimes. There's synchronicity, but there is this idea of putting this vibration out to the universe of the things you want to attract into your life. And if you do that consistently, you will find that, a lot. I'm not saying that it's 100%, because I think that's mostly on us. I don't think we completely understand how to use those tools. Yeah. But I would almost guarantee you will get more things like that happening to you than you would if you did nothing, or if you were going along the negative way. So.
It was, again, going through, like, studying the bits and pieces that I did for the show today. The amount of times that Rhonda Byrne's secret, the power of law of attraction, and all that was also brought up within the affirmation thing as well. That was quite uncanny, which I was a bit like, wow, that's very, very, very cool. Wasn't expecting that in there, because so many people are so aware of that book. But yeah,
well, like anything that becomes pop culture, right? There are things that there are negative connotations of it for some people, and there are positive connotations. It really popularized this idea of our thoughts. And I don't know if you remember from that book, the main thing she started doing this with was her own eyesight. Her eyesight was starting to go a little bit, and she said she spent 3 days, almost like a sweat lodge type of meditation thing, saying affirmations that her eyesight was going to get better. And she demonstratably, her eyesight improved during that time. Yeah. And she thought, well, this is an interesting idea. And she kind of followed up from there, and then kind of came out with this book called The Secret. And of course, then she went on Oprah, and the rest is history, but yeah, again, it's just a popular way of a pop culture way of saying all the things we've been saying all day, is that if you think the thoughts and say the words and attract the things that you're going to attract the things that you're thinking of. And there's another famous quote that's right, that you think about I can't think right now. You become what you think about all day long.
Yeah.
And it's true. If you think all day long, I'm a failure, I'm never going to get anywhere, I guarantee that's probably where your life is. I don't know anyone who thinks they're a failure, who really thought, now I there's people who are like perfectionists, right? And they never quite reach the level they want to reach. But I guarantee there's no one walking around thinking they're a failure that winds up being a huge success. You have to kind of believe in yourself. You have to kind of believe that good things are coming your way. You have to, because that's going to encourage you to take the actions, and action's so important in this. It's not just thinking the thoughts. Now that gives you the foundation to go out and take the action in the world. align with those thoughts.
And if you've already got like your chain locker, you know, your full arsenal of different affirmations, I don't think there's really a great deal of situations that you can't excel at when applied, because there are so, you know, going back to what we were saying earlier, there's like affirmations for absolutely everything. But obviously now we're kind of doing this practical thing here. There's no reason why you can't kind of write more of them.
Absolutely.
Kind of, because I don't know on your website, the Affirmation Spot. I mean, do you have like a forum there where people can post their own, or do you let people post their own affirmations on like the Facebook group and things like that?
I have never thought, you know, the Facebook group is actually a page. It's not a group. So I've thought about transitioning that over to a group where people could post that, because, yeah, I would like to get more input from people on those pages. And I've really thought about doing that. There's no place on the site to do that. I do have people write me all the time and say, hey, I did this, and here are the affirmations I wrote. What do you think? I've even done customized affirmations. People say, I don't really want to do this. Here's what I'm trying to achieve. Write some affirmations or record. I've done some recordings for people as well. And so, yeah, I think that's the thing. Is
you helped me in the past when I've said to you, Ray, I'm kind of in a bit of a bind. Where do I, and you know, and the same like on your site as well. I mean, you have like free downloadable MP3 affirmations. Go over to your YouTube channel. You have video affirmations that you do off the cuff, whether you're out walking with Mia or in the car while you're at the mall or something like that. They're all there, and it's great, especially now. All right, give me 2 seconds, Tanette, and I will ask Ray. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, when you do the Facebook, the YouTube thing, I mean, that is great. Because if I'm on the go, if I'm at work, if I'm halfway between England and France, I'm able to watch it or watch it as and when. I mean, I love those. I really, really do. So are you going to do more of those? Or, 'cause I know you said a while ago you were planning on it.
Yeah, that's part of the reason for the studio that I'm going to do. I'm going to do more of those, more of the, not just the off the cuff ones, but more of the kind of planned recordings. Longer ones. You know, there's a lot of people, there's a number of channels out there on YouTube of people who make these 8-hour affirmations and things that people listen to while they sleep. And I listen to those sometimes. I find they're really, really effective. I think I mentioned that before about sleeping, but you know, I think there's something about, you're totally, I guess, defenseless is the word, but your logical brain gets out of the way. You know, one of the things when you're awake and you're doing affirmations, there's always that part that goes, well, that would never happen. There's that negative pain, but you can't do that when you're asleep. You're just listening and you're absorbing. And I think, you know, I got that idea when I was in high school. I had this kid who was a math whiz, and he went on to do, I don't know, he went to Harvard and did wonderful things in the scientific community. But he told me one time that he listened to math problems at night when he went to bed. And that's how I got the idea of doing that. I'm like, he would listen to them over and over again until he knew them so well, because that repetition, even while you're asleep, you're getting it. You know, your consciousness is getting it. And that's how I came to that idea.
I mean, when I first started doing the broadcasting, I used to go to bed listening to Art Bell.
Oh, yeah. Loved Art Bell. I miss Art Bell.
Who doesn't? Art Bell. Yeah. Did you ever get on Art Bell?
No. I was on Jimmy's show, as you know, but I never made it on Art Bell. I wasn't that big. I'm not that big now, but I wasn't that big back then. So.
Well, I don't know. You had to have been pretty big to be able to get on the Fade of Black. Yeah.
That was the biggest show I've ever been on, honestly, except for Fascination Street.
Hey.
But yeah, that was exciting to talk to Jimmy that night. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, the greatest show that no one ever knew they wanted her to be on was our show. Absolutely.
It is. It is. It's the most fun, I can tell you that.
We're so down to earth, even our lounge.
That's the thing. That's the way we set it up. When we said, you know, we wanted to kind of like make things different. So it was a move from the kitchen to our lounge. You know,
so you can kick back with us, have a cuppa,
have a slushy,
and it's a chat. It's not an interview. It's a chat, and it's a chat with the chat room as well. That's what makes it so different. We have the chat room that interacts with you too.
Yeah, exactly. And we're about to hit on that now.
And we are.
Right, so first question up.
Here's the first one.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
is it possible to use affirmations on another person, i.e. to help undo bad behavior?
Sadly, I have not found that that's true. Affirmations are really a tool that you can use for yourself. Now, I do think that you can do things to help surround another person that you interact with regularly with some positive energy, but they've got to want to do it. They've got to choose it. So yeah, that would be nice, kind of like putting a little positive spell on them, but
Yeah.
I haven't really found that that works, to be honest.
You've got to want to help to change you with yourself.
Exactly.
You can help anyone else, and trying to help someone else, they've got to want to help to change too.
They've got to want it. If they don't want to change, there's not really, hopefully you can just be a good example, right? They can see that your life's going great because of what you're doing, and hopefully they'll want to know why. That would probably be the best thing you could do for someone like that.
Yeah. The changes that you make in your life could help benefit someone else in theirs. Which is what we talk about, which is why we wanted to do the affirmation show, because obviously I use affirmations. I believe in affirmations. I think they're very, very good. And, wanted to share that with our friends, because who knows, maybe a few of the guys, gals in the chat room will now think, wow, okay, I've written a first affirmation. That was good fun. I like the way that it made me feel. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to maybe write another couple, keep a journal, write them as you go along. Or if you got your voice recorder on your phone, your MP3 recorder or whatever, use that while you're drinking coffee in the local, I don't know, coffee shop, or while you've got a moment to yourself while you're waiting for someone at the mall, or when you're doing the school run and picking the little folks up. You can do them anywhere, anytime. And that's the beauty of it. And it's the same as reading.
It doesn't take a minute to actually think of something you want to make positive and to inspire yourself to be more positive in your life.
That's what it is, positive thought and self-empowerment.
And then we just go drop ourselves in the pond like a stone, right?
Yeah.
And it reverberates out. And if enough people start doing this, we get to that holy grail world we were talking about.
Yeah,
exactly. Absolutely.
Okay, next question.
Dun dun dun.
John Ledford, do you leave voicemails for people to help affirmation?
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
I've never done that, but that's a good idea. You mean leave them a voicemail with an affirmation that they can use? Yeah.
No, come here.
That if what he means is that would be a great way, I guess, with someone that you wanted to try to help influence to go better, is just leave them a positive thought or an affirmation on their voicemail, so that when they go to answer it, they get that and go, what is wrong with that guy? I mean, come on. but maybe it goes poof and blows up in his face, and he's like, oh.
Yeah. This message is self-destruct in 5 seconds. 3.
But yeah, I think that'd be a great tool. Maybe send a voicemail to yourself every day.
Yeah. Or leave one on your voicemail for others.
Exactly.
Yeah. There you go, Tanette. Maybe give that a go.
Leave it on their voicemail who you're trying to help.
Yep. Sorry, Doug.
That might be an idea.
It's easy to do this and deal with the claws in my back.
Let's have a look.
Well, we're looking for more. Is there anyone that you recommend for those overnight affirmations, Ray?
You mean a number at one time?
One of your favorites for what you listen to at bedtime?
So I usually you can find on YouTube these days, you can find about anything. There's some people who have done some really nice recordings. And I try to listen either to something topical that I'm working on right now, or just generalized ones that are like just reaffirming, a lot of I am. I like I am affirmations. That's kind of like I set the gold standard. And I think that, just I am followed by a bunch of words like I am creative, I am smart, I am good looking, I'm smart enough, I'm good enough, and gosh darn it, people like me. Now everybody remembers that from Saturday Night Live, right? Stuart Smalley sitting there, but yeah, that kind of stuff I think is really good. And like a lot of the affirmations, there's a guy named Justin, I can't think of his last name. That's horrible. But he does some really good recordings. His channel is called You Are Creators. And he maybe will do a recording of about 20 or 25 affirmations, and then he'll just repeat them for 8 hours. And so if you listen to that while you're sleeping, you'll get those same 20, 25 affirmations over and over and over again over the course of 6 or 8 hours. That's multitasking. I'm sleeping and I'm getting better at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay, this isn't a question for you. This is a question for us. From Lorianne. She's a new newcomer to YouTube, and she's wondering why she's getting red lines. Now, Lorianne, if somebody is referring to you and they have put an @ sign before your name, it will come up as red to you.
It's a direct message to you personally.
If you put an @ sign to somebody else's name and write the name as they have it, it will show up on their page only in red, so they will know it's a personal message to them. That way, so you may have got lots of red lines from people welcoming you to the chat room or answering a question that you've put out that may have your name, therefore it's been personalized to you, so it will come up as red. That's why you're getting the red lines come up. I hope that explains a little bit in the chat room. Hopefully.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So do we have any more questions for Ray, folks? I think it's been quite good, because if there's hardly any questions, that means we've explained everything really well.
I think that's happened before. I think we've actually been
No. We've had a couple. So
they're so engrossed in the conversation that there's no questions.
That's when we threaten them with a test, right? I come back in a couple of weeks and we take a test. Is that no?
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing more than 94%.
Oh, now I have a question. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. And then do we get the Ray Davis certified certificate afterwards? you passed my affirmation class.
That's right.
Do you use many affirmations when you go off and you do your motivational speaking, Ray?
Not so much, and honestly, I haven't done a lot of motivational speaking in a while. I did some of that. More, I will pick a topic, and a lot of times it's related to something that the group that I'm talking to wants to, focus on. So I'll write a presentation. I did one time that was 8 characteristics of the hero in you, and I focused on. In fact, you can probably find that on my blog somewhere. I'm sure I have that. In fact, I know I do have that out there somewhere. But it was 8 ways that all of us every single day can be a hero in our lives, and we don't have to go in and don the Superman suit or anything. We can do it right where we are, and we don't have to change anything about ourselves. There's things we can do every day, and that those opportunities to do that sort of thing exist everywhere in our day, all day long. We just have to be watching for them. So that was like an example of something I did. So I think on some of the ones that I've done in the past, I have left affirmations behind for people. But again, I find that really, well, it's fine for me to write affirmations for people. I find that the ones that work the best are the ones you write for yourself, because it's got to resonate with you. And what I've done where people have asked me to record them or write them for them, we go back and forth. I'm like, take a look at these and see how this feels for you, because I want to make sure that these are speaking to you. And if they're not, we need to tweak them some more, and we kind of go back and forth like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very strong resonation with you. I mean, it's like when you listen to like different kinds of music, you'll always find certain music that will resonate with you, as you will find certain affirmations with certain words or certain topics that will resonate with you as well. 100%. Yeah.
Listen to how the words make you feel. If they don't make you feel good, then that's not the right affirmation for you. No,
it's the same when you buy, like, I don't know, an anniversary card for your wife or birthday card for your child. I can't be one of those guys that goes in, grabs one and goes, because I like using the picture on the front or whatever. I actually have to stand there, read the words, see how I feel about it. Would I be, grateful to get that? Or does it even sound like my wife when it said, your eyes are beautiful, they make me feel so warm? And I'm like, no, I'll get another one. That one. Yeah.
She was liking that. You should go get that card.
My eyes are different.
Your eyes are like the sea of tranquility. I just want to dive in.
Hey, okay. that was high grade poetry there.
I think I've just been sick in my own mouth.
Okay, John's asked, is there any Anunnaki news?
Yes. So I am still working on the book. This one's taking a little longer than the last one. This is tougher subject matter, I think, than the first one even. And I want to make sure that I get it right, because I think it really, in the interest of everything we're talking about today, I think it's, I want people to take away from this book that we are unique, powerful beings that can make these choices for ourselves, and that we don't have to rely on some institution or higher power. And I really feel like, whether or not the stuff I'm talking about in this book is absolutely true or just part of the truth, I think it's really important for us to understand that history and the fact that we understand who we are, because I think if we understand who we are, then we can understand where we're capable of getting. And I think we've been given a really low bar on who we are. And so it's going to be challenging. I think it's going to challenge some paradigms for some people and challenging. I'm really hoping, this year we did the move. That's kind of an excuse, I know, but I've really been focusing on this 365 days to a better you blog thing and writing a little bit on the side. I think in 2020, the book will return to be a big focus, and I'm really hoping to get that out, the second book out next year, because the third book I have pretty much written in my head already. It's like that. It's that nirvana world we're talking about. It's what if we released all these limitations, what could our world be like? And that's really what the third book will be about. But the second book, we have to go through the struggle and the pain and the journey that we've been talking about today individually as a world. I think we are going to have to go through that to get there. So
there it is.
There it is.
And that's the man that wrote it, Ray Davis.
And that's who we've got on there. Yeah.
There's a couple UFOs on the front of that.
Yeah.
No,
because everything's in reverse, so I've got to try and.
There you go. I see the UFOs across the front of it right there.
You see, I push it left and it goes right, and it goes.
I've been doing that with my head for 2 hours. It's like oh wait, oh no, that's the wrong way. Okay, yeah.
It's like every time I kind of notice that we're just a little bit off screen, because I noticed on going through, because I also have like the live chat up here, and I noticed that there's kind of like sometimes half of my face missing this side, half of Sarah's side. So I'm just kind of like trying to move, but then realize I'm going the wrong way and then going that way. So I must look properly special during some of the video that we do.
Yeah.
As long as it's your good half, it's good, right? If it's
right to the way we are on camera.
Which is quite kind of good, because it cuts out like my biggest ear. So if I go like that, my ears don't seem to stick out as much. And it don't help that I've like shaved my head. So
oh my goodness.
I must admit, I love the new look. I love having the shaved head. It is awesome. I highly recommend it to anyone.
I'll tell you, I've been considering it, because you can't see, but I have the Friar Tuck look on the back here, and
yeah, that's what he had. And he wakes up in the morning, he goes, "What shall I do with my hair?" It's
done.
It
comes down home and gives me like a nice imaginary mohawk for the day, which I would have more than happy with.
I have to get one Star Trek thing in it. I just think about, I want to look like Jean-Luc Picard someday, so that would be my.
Out of as much as I dislike, not hate, as much as I dislike Star Trek, if I could be one character in Star Trek, it would be Jean-Luc. Or if we could have him into the Star Wars universe, he would be the first one I would choose to have in the Star Wars universe.
If you're picking teams, right, from the Star Trek, you'd pick him.
Yeah. I could see Jean-Luc and Luke Skywalker going on, not because of the Luke factor, but I could see those going on like pretty cool journeys together.
Okay. Enjoy being. Does Ray have a comment on positive thinking, which makes people blind to truths? The extreme where one may have encased themselves in cotton wool.
Yeah, this is a question I get all the time, right? It's the fear that I'm going to just see all this light and love, and I'm not going to understand that there are problems in the world and that there's hurt and pain and stuff like that. No, I think we need to take a realistic look at the way the world is. Jimmy, we talked before, and I think we talked a little bit earlier, even in this conversation, about some of the things going on in the world right now. And, and that there are a lot of changes that we need to make. And I think what it really is seeing the world with clear eyes. I don't think if you follow me at all on social media, you might have seen me getting involved in some political stuff yesterday because of some stuff that was going on here in the States. But I really do believe that we have to look at the world the way it is and see it for all its flaws, and then go out and try to make it better. So I'm not for this turning a blind eye to stuff and pretending stuff isn't what it is. But I always do like to say that what is, but that doesn't mean it's what has to be. So I would encourage you to have not just some people get stuck in, well, this is real. It's horrible now and all this stuff. And it may be, not saying that it's not. And there are horrible things that happen to us personally as well. But we've got to be looking for the way that we can move forward positively and change it. It's not just enough to recognize the problem. We have to figure out what the solution could be as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm still putting out social media links for you, Ray.
9 Eland. So affirmations are essentially personal ego boosts.
That could certainly be one way of looking at them. I think it's depends on what you want to achieve, right? I mean,
it turns negative into a positive thought.
Positive self-empowerment.
Yeah.
Here's
self-empowerment is ego.
Then yes.
Here's what I would say though about that. I think that again, we talked about that many people, because of our society the way it is, talking to the last question, right? Have a tendency to think negatively. That's kind of their default setting in a lot of ways. And I say that, we need to kind of counter that. We need to have a counterbalance to that, because you can go, as I said, it's all around you on the news all day long, on the internet, and find all the negativity that you want to find, but you've got to have a balance to it. Otherwise, you just go right down that rabbit hole and you're in the negative zone, and that's not a neighborhood you want to live in. So yeah, I mean, it is about boosting your good feelings about yourself, boosting your self-esteem, wanting better for yourself. But it's also about, I think, wanting better for the world, and also really trying to take what is and make it better, So I think our mindsets, again, we're all these little ripples in the pond, right? And if we're sending out those negative vibes all day long, and there's enough people doing that, the world turns into this negative place. Whereas if we switch that around and more people are putting out those positive vibes, we can turn this world into a much better place. So it's not just a self-centered thing. That's part of it. I mean, you're trying to make your own life better, but you're also, I feel like, making the world better by putting this vibration out into the world.
Yeah. Agreed.
Right, put glasses off. Something to that.
Let's have a look.
Doug, have a word. Seriously. No, I love having you there, but sniffing my side is not cool. Where's Mia this evening, Ray?
She's upstairs asleep, probably. I'm down in the basement in this place we're renting right now while we're building the house, and she just doesn't do stairs so well anymore. So I have to carry her down here, and I left her upstairs sleeping. But a lot of times she sleeps next to me when I'm working. So
yeah, she's always been your confidant for many years, and
yeah.
She's
15, and I've worked at home most of her life, and we've spent our whole day together most of the time. So
yeah, she's a little crack. You've got to love Mia. Yeah. So, and if you follow Ray on any social media, all the links are out there now. I've put Ray's Facebook group. I've put Ray on Twitter, Ray's website, where you can get Ray's book. Again, it's only a couple of dollars, and it's possibly a couple of dollars that are going to be best spent this week, unless of course you've brought something really cool like a Lamborghini or something.
Then, yeah, get the Lamborghini.
Yeah, absolutely. Not Ray's book. Yeah.
As Ferris Bueller said, if you have the means, right? So
yeah, right. What we got there?
So Lorianne was trying to send us something. Lorianne, yes, it has come up, although I had to check a different phone because we have 2 different handles. Jim has the Fascination Street, and I have Sarah Pearson. And because I'm on a different platform to what you're actually watching on YouTube, therefore it doesn't come up on red on my screen. So I had to check all our different devices to make sure, yes, it does come up red to us.
So not only do you learn affirmations tonight, you also learn YouTube etiquette. So yeah, you're doing good, girl. You're doing good. And it's really nice that you can join us. Thank you. Laurie Ann's been a friend of ours for a while, so to see her on, yeah, it just makes it even cooler. So it's an evening spent with friends all round. Right, so have we got anything else?
No, there's no more questions at the moment, although Jim has just put out last questions before we wrap up. So as we do start to wrap up,
Anybody?
where is your next step?
Yeah.
Apart
Where's
from
my
your book, yeah, your
Yep.
book. Obviously, you've
Moving
got
into the new house.
yeah, you're moving in. You want to, well, you're going to be moving in, or you have moved in.
So the big project that I'm thinking about for 2020, well, not thinking about, I'm going to do it. And it's the reason we're doing the little small studio, is that I'm going to start doing a YouTube show. And I think it's going to be a mix. I really believe that all these different things we talk about, from the Anunnaki stuff to UFOs to affirmations, a lot of this stuff is all related. And I think whatever is coming down the pike for humanity, our mindsets are going to make the difference. And so I find there's a linkage between all of this. So I'm going to start doing a YouTube show like these guys. Probably not as good, but I need to do some affirmations about that. I'm still working on believing in that. But it's going to be about an eclectic set of things. We'll talk about, this type of stuff. We'll talk about UFOs. We might talk a little politics, but not just from the standpoint of, you're bad and evil, but from the standpoint of, how can we achieve the goals that we all want, and thinking about it in a more, I hope, enlightened way than you typically see on YouTube. And I don't have a name for that show yet. I thought about the Ray Davis show, and then I thought, wow, that's pretty egocentric. So let's come up with something cooler than that. So I'm working on a name, but probably coming around February, I'm going to start doing those shows. I'm going to start having some of them will be one man shows, and some will be guest shows. And I'd love to have you guys on if you would like to come on. Maybe we can do the reverse.
Anytime.
And the same, if we can help in any way, get your show up and running.
I'll give you an idea
like
on
that.
this platform that we use here,
Yep.
how to use it, how to get started, and give you some tips on how you can use some of the lovely gadgets that we've used this evening.
I mean,
Awesome.
you've always been there for us since like the first week we joined the community and everything. You've always been there. You've always helped. You've always supported. So the least we can do is sort of like pass it on.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
I'll pass on all my knowledge that I have, what there is, to you.
And all 3 brain cells of mine are yours.
Thank you. I suspect you have more than that. You need to do an affirmation on how many brain cells you have. I think you have more than that.
Yeah.
I have at least
4 brain cells at the start of the show.
I have at least 5 brain cells, right?
I refuse to believe I only have 3 brain cells. I've got 4, but the last one's damaged. One thing we haven't touched on this evening: Sixth Sense Media.
Yep. My partner Dennis Nappy II and I have a platform called Sixth Sense Media, and again, with my move this year and some other things he's been working on, we've hasn't gone as far this year as we were hoping. But really, we talk about all sorts of things there, kind of those topics that don't get talked about in the mainstream media. About some of the things we've talked about tonight, about the power within us, about some of the phenomena out there in the world that we don't fully understand or are not fully reported on. Dennis has a show that he does called The Secret Podcast. It's an excellent show. And he's also put out a book called I Am Human, and We Are Not Who We Think We Are. And I'm actually working my way through it right now. I'm about 2/3 of the way through it. And it's a fantastic book. Dennis has had some really interesting experiences in life, and he shares his insights and a ton of research that he did into this about who we are and what our existence here is really about, and would be a huge benefit to anyone who wants it. That's available on Amazon as well. But you can catch us at sixthsensemedia.net for that, or we also have some stuff on social media as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's fantastic. Because at some point, I mean, I've spoke with Dennis a few times, and he is a guest that I would like to have on. So I'll obviously have to do that, and I've got to get Kat Hobson back on again soon.
Yeah, Kat's awesome.
Just sort of like watching her on social media, where she's going, what she's up to. And I mean, how on earth does she still manage to find time to run Fate magazine?
I don't know.
various radio shows that she does. Honestly, she must be absolutely knackered the whole time.
Yeah, she's fantastic. She's she was doing something, I think, with someone else, and then she said, I can do this better myself, and she's kind of started her own small network. So
yeah, her own radio, WBHM, out of Birmingham, Alabama. I'll put a link in for that as well, because she's always really good. Whenever we do shows, put out show promos, etc., she always lets us post. So a big shout out to Kat Hobson for that. Where are we?
And another thing I might say about Dennis, he's really gotten into cryptocurrency lately. He's getting an understanding of that, and I think that's something that's going to be important for all of us to know about in the near future, probably. And that'd be a great topic to talk to him about, because I'm still trying to learn about that. I don't completely understand it, but I'm trying to dig into that, and I think it's going to become a part of our lives. I heard the other day that the Federal Reserve is looking at a way to maybe transition from the dollar to the cryptocurrency in the near future. So.
Is it bad that I have absolutely no idea at all about cryptocurrency?
Me neither.
All right, that's okay. Then we're both in the same boat, literally. so we could do a show with Dennis. Who are we? What are we all about? And where is the future of our currency going?
Exactly. It's a catch-all show.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of people I know that are kind of looking into the cryptocurrency thing, getting involved in it. And, I don't know whether or not I kind of feel a little bit left behind, or because I mean, there was such a stigma with it maybe about a year ago, wasn't there? The whole, like, Bitcoin, but the amount of people that I see, on Twitter, we're giving away like 8 Bitcoin today, or we're doing this, we're doing that. And again, I really haven't put a lot of thought and bits and pieces into it. So I don't know whether or not that's a mistake on my part. I don't know about the guys in the chat room, how they feel about cryptocurrency. As I say, well, so I'm just putting Kat's link in. I told you there'd be times when I'd be looking away. There we go.
And I think I said I would do this, right? No.
that was when you thought you were
yeah, that's right. That's the hypnosis show. I forgot. That's not the affirmation.
Yeah, that's another one.
Or just
okay, you can wake up now.
Yeah, at full capacity. Right. Okay. Well, I think that's just about wraps up. We've got nothing else from the chat room.
No, that is it. So that is brilliant.
So we're at 2 hours, 3 minutes now. Do you know what? It doesn't even seem like 2 hours.
It doesn't.
I know it doesn't. This was a lot of fun, guys. Thank you for having me again. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming back.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure.
And you're always welcome.
Yep. Are you? Do you want to hang on? We'll have a chat afterwards, or have you got a disappear, Ray?
No, I can hang for a little while. Yep.
Fantastic. Okay, we'll get back to you in a second. We're just going to do the wrap, and then we're all
Alrighty.
ready. See you in a sec.
Fab.
Right.
Fabulous. I'm so pleased we got to do our own affirmations as well, and I hope that it's really helped you out as well. Check out Ray's site. He has got some fabulous ways to do affirmations to do more for yourself.
I'll put another link up.
Also, there are affirmations that you can use for yourself, and obviously the book gives you so many that you can use, whether it's relevant to your day or whether you can pick one that is relevant to you and that moment. We have a few shout outs to do. John Ledford, thank you for your donation again. Very much appreciated. I'm going to see what I can do. Pictures will be put up.
Oh gosh.
He's been asking for a long time. John, I will do it. I will. I've got to find one big enough first.
Well, can we not just use yours and I'll have it reduced?
No, you didn't.
I went there.
Okay. Come on then, help me out with the
right, 2 seconds. No, I'm just getting
now.
Ray's stuff out. Right, so big shout outs as usual. Natasha Nix, Mysterious Forces Live. Dave Partridge, who this week sadly has put out a post that Shadows of Your Mind magazine is going on a long-term hiatus. We were looking forward to seeing it again soon. I know he was working on another copy, but through one thing or another at the moment, it's been put in total cryostasis. Fingers crossed we'll see Dave back soon, because that magazine is very, very important to our community. So, Dave, and I'm still going to put shadows in your mind. Hopefully you'll have a change of heart. We'll see your stuff back soon, because you're important to the community and we love you dearly. Thank you so much for always supporting us and being a show associate. The Art of Eric Stitt, Brett Larson, Inquire Within. Always Ray and Dennis at 6 Sense Media. Big shout out to Kat Hobson. Who else have we got this week?
CW and Kelly.
CW's and Kelly.
Yeah.
Dina Bobina.
Yeah.
If anyone's following her, if not, she's been doing quite an expose on things with regards to
issues within the community.
Yep, issues within the community that are coming up to their first anniversary. Who else have we got to say?
Can't think of anyone else.
Enjoy being. Hurry up and get a new video out, because we need a new video. Right, everyone else in the chat room. So Tinette, love you, T. Enjoy being. Dwayne, thank you so much. Hurry up and get that video out. Lorianne, thank you so much for coming in, making us your first choice this evening or this morning, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. I think
Maggie,
you're in Canada, aren't you?
Maggie, can't wait to see the picture. You have said that you have finished it. Cannot wait to see that. Hopefully we will get it for our wall.
That because we're gonna all of our friends' art and everything is gonna be taken up on our studio wall here. And then when we finally get the house moved about and I get my new studio upstairs, then it will all be moved upstairs as well. So that will always be there, 100%.
Yes, Paranormal Hood as well, John. Absolutely.
Thank you, John. Jiggy, Smoke King, Paranormal Hood. So sorry we forgot you guys. But we're not seeing a great deal of you these days. And I understand, Jiggy, you haven't been very well, so mate.
They have just done a new one for Thursday.
It was only Smoke.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was only Smoke King, not Jiggy. So Jiggy, hope you're feeling better and the altitude sickness has kind of leveled you out a little bit now, mate. Right. Anyone else we've missed in the chat room? My mum. Thank you for dropping in. If you're still there, don't know. Maggie, as always, thank you so much for giving us your time. John, best moderator in the world. Also the biggest guy that I know that no one's ever going to mess with anyway. So, you know.
And I'm still looking for other volunteers for my Invisible Illness and Disability show. I have a couple that have said yes. I'm looking to try and pin them down for a date, and obviously pin down a date that we can do it for RN2. Anyone else, please message me if you would like to take part in the discussion that we will be having on invisible illnesses and disabilities, whether you have been part of the disabilities or you've even had discrimination. Anything around the area of disabilities or invisible illnesses, you are more than welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we're not talking physical, we're talking mental as well. Absolutely anything that falls into that umbrella. If you have any friends or family that suffer from anything like that, then by all means put the names forward. If they want to talk about it and come on with us, or rather on with Sarah, because it's going to be a show that she's hosting, then absolutely, please. It's a big thing. It's a big thing, and it needs to be talked about. The opioid epidemic is ridiculous, both this side of the Atlantic, your side of the Atlantic, maybe up in Canada. So again, you know, treatment, not medication. That's what we want to talk about as well.
It is, although without the medication, I wouldn't be able to physically move. That's an unfortunate side of.
There is that. Yeah. But when it gets to a point where they just constantly throw opioids at you.
I'm actually trying to reduce mine at the moment rather than increase. I'm actually on a program with my chronic pain team to reduce rather than increase. So I've already reduced by 5 micrograms an hour. So I'm going to be doing more. I work in a related field. Robin, absolutely. We will definitely love to have you on. If you'd like to come on, message me. You've got all my details. Just give me an idea on when you're free, and I will try and get as many of you on as I physically can.
Right. Okay. And that's a wrap.
It is a wrap for today. So not sure who we're going to have next week. We're still working on that.
Oh, I thought we had someone. Didn't we?
Oh yes, you've booked someone. Yes, we do have
I've
someone.
booked someone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who
we
it
have
is,
booked them.
I don't know. It's going to be a surprise.
It's on the calendar downstairs. We'll find out.
True story. True story. That's what I mean. Always the professionals. That's us.
You're in our lounge. What do you expect?
It's a Saturday night chill out. I mean, we've just come up to 10:10 in the evening. Both of us have been up since sort of like 6 a.m. this morning. I've had a lovely day at sea, being thrown about in rough seas and stuff like that. So we're kind of getting to a point now where the tiredness is kicking in and the excitement's taking over.
Woohoo!
We love that. True story.
Okay, so it's a good night from us.
It's a good night from me.
And
It's a
good night,
from her.
Ray. Thank you so much for joining
Yep.
us, and we hope to have you on again very soon.
Right. That's a wrap.
Take care, everyone, and until next week,
See you next week, everyone. Big love. Big love.
take care.
Mwah.
Carry on waving.